Okay, so the first question is, what are your primary duties in your job?
Okay, so as development manager, I oversee all of our fundraising efforts, which includes grant writing, putting together campaigns, fundraising campaigns, and also I oversee all of our communication aspects. So that goes from social media to communicating press releases to different media outlets, and I've got Justin Wood is our communications coordinator, which was my Vista position last year. So he kind of manages all of that. I just kind of help him out along the way. And am I forgetting anything from the first time I answered?
No. But I do have a question. What's really the difference between communication coordinator and what you do now?
Not much, really, because I was doing a lot of the same things as I was as a communications coordinator. Now I'm just kind of like another level above. So now it's more, I have a little bit more time because he's here to focus on all of our fundraising efforts and donor stewardship plans, things like that. The development side of things, because I've got somebody who can actually, who actually facilitates a lot of the communication efforts. So.
Okay. So what do you think is the best form of experience? Do you think the education, training, or on-the-job experience has helped you the most?
I think it's just a big mix of all of those things because, there are some things I wouldn't have been able to do had I not had the experiences I've had as a student at UAB. Because there's a certain skill set that I was taught, as a professional writing student, that really helps me in where I am at now. But at the same time, with any field or any career that you really go into, nothing stays the same. So you've got to be able to not only just go out on your own and, learn new things, teach yourself how to do different types of tasks as, the field develops, but also being a part of organizations and communities where you're able to get some extra educational opportunities. So with like the Association of Fundraising Professionals is a great organization that I've been able to be a part of since I came on with Growing Kings. And I actually just got to fill out my form to go to their international conference because I got I'm the 2016 recipient of their Chamberlain Scholarship.
Oh, awesome.
So I'll be going to Boston for my birthday. But yeah, so but things like that, just, finding those extra opportunities to just kind of further yourself and develop. Mm-hmm. But you got to be committed to it because, the people that really want to learn just go out and figure out how to do things on their own.
Okay, besides writing skills, what other skills are important in your job?
So I do a lot of the design work, so something you really wouldn't expect an English major to be able to know how to do, but like I said, having taken a lot of Dr. Botch's classes, my first one was visual rhetoric, and, just understanding how images and words just kind of play a role in not only what they are, but how they're presented is a huge benefit to me, understanding a lot of those principles. But, I do a lot of the design work for handouts that we have to have, our folders, what other stuff have I done? I've done lots of things. Now I can't think of anything. Invitations for events, I've done those. One thing I learned how to do in Dr. Botch's class is how to make videos, so editing. So I actually put together a couple videos for, whether it be fundraising campaigns, or we went to Selma this past spring, and so it was the 50th anniversary, and I put together a little video compilation of the students going down there, our trip, the bus ride, and everything. So it's really cool just to be able to know how to do those things and put it together, because video gets, 18 times more response on social media than words alone.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
It's kind of sad.
Yeah, images. I think I mean, these are probably old. These are old statistics. Images were about like 12 times more response. But so just understanding those things and like how to be able to adapt your the messaging that you have. So showing it in a way that people are going to stop and pay attention, because you can have a great story and you can write it, but how are you going to get people to stop and pay attention to it? That's the key.
Okay, I don't know how much this will apply to your job in particular, but what do you think for other professional writing, how are entry-level jobs?
I'm not too sure how some of those really have gone, because I think, I've got a friend of mine he's actually still a student. He needs to finish up his last semester, but he, professional writing major, started out with the internship with Weld, 6-month internship doing social media, and this is a guy who knows nothing about Facebook and Twitter. So he was calling me when he first got it. So, but it was a great starting point for him, because he did this internship and now he's on as a writer. So he, which is a great relationship for us, because he's, covered press releases that I, sit down and talk to him about how can, we kind of make our story sound a little bit more appealing for your readership, that kind of thing. But but I've also had other friends I had another friend of mine who's a professional writing major, and he got a job as a tech writer for a company that was just really starting out. So it's kind of one of those, they really didn't have much as far as like, I guess, many years on their doing what they were doing, but they were developing idle mitigation systems for vehicles. So for like police cars to be able to run a lot of their stuff without running down your battery.
Right.
I don't know anything about that stuff. But, he also had, it speaks to the fact that you've got to have other interests that really help you stand out. So he has a huge car interest. My other friend has, just always been wanting to be a journalist. So, he's doing really well for himself now. And I actually fell on this, how I came here was a friend of mine. She spoke at the first TEDx Birmingham conference that they had a couple years ago. And she works for the Birmingham Education Foundation. She's an English major, but her concentration was like in Native American literature or something I would never have been able to comprehend. But yeah, so she had like a big get together after she spoke, and we kind of celebrate her and stuff. And I met our executive director through her, and then like the very next day she texted me and said, "Hey, there's this AmeriCorps Vista position open. Would you be interested?" And at that time, I think it was about March, and I was graduating in April. So yeah, I need a job.
Wow, yeah, that's
I
nice.
don't care, I'll do it. So, but it was a great opportunity, because through that I was able to sit down with Marcus and talk about my skill sets, what I can bring to the table here. And so now I've completed my AmeriCorps Vista year, and now I was extended a full-time opportunity to stay on. So it's been good. But yeah, I've actually seen other just being involved here, other English majors I knew from UAB when I was going to school, and seeing them in AmeriCorps Vista positions. And it's one of those things where it's like you got to take it as it's a volunteership. So you go in, you're going to do some nonprofit work, they'll fit you in where your skill set's really light. And so, you make a pittance, but, it's just like any internship. You're either going to get paid or you won't get paid. At least you get a little bit of money. But there are a lot of other great opportunities that came out of it too. So like when you finish your year, you get you can choose between a cash bonus, or you can get an education award. So I took the education award because I'm actually using that now to pay off my student loans.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
So yeah, so it kind of prolongs me and from having to start paying off my loans from directly out of my pocket,
right? Which
is nice. So, but yeah, it's a great program. I'd encourage anybody to look into it.
It's
a great way to meet people in the community. So yeah.
Do you ever use, like, to what extent do you ever use a personal computer when completing job-related tasks? If you ever use
All
a
the
person?
time.
All the time.
Not my personal computer, my work computer, but yes, I'm on it all the time. Sometimes I like to just take my writing to an actual pen and pad of paper, but when it comes down to it, like whether it's having to research different things when I'm writing a grant, or actually writing the grant, submitting a grant.
What made you go into professional writing?
I'd always enjoyed writing. Just always had fun with it, whether I was doing it for school or if I was just doing it just to, play a joke on my parents. That's another story. But, I just always had fun with it. And, that was the one thing that I was actually good at when I was in high school. I wasn't good at a lot of things. There was art and then there was writing. So I had to decide, where am I going to actually make some money? So... Though it could be argued that, one would be a little bit more profitable than the other. But no, I've always enjoyed writing. And I actually, when I was a non-traditional student. So I left Auburn University because I started there right out of high school. Left there probably about 2 years. Kind of did some other stuff, just trying to figure things out. And then when I moved to Birmingham, not back to Birmingham, I was working like retail jobs, so really it's just like stuff that was just getting me by, but it's just there was no end goal in sight.
Yeah.
And I was fortunate enough, had a friend of mine call me and, asked me, hey, Amy, if you were to go back to school, would you, do what you're supposed to do? And I was like, yeah, why not? And so he said, okay, well, I'll pay for you to go back to school. I'll pay your tuition, I'll pay for your books and all this kind of stuff. So he got me set up at Jeff State. Went back and I had every intention to go in and just crash and burn like I had before. But then I found out, when you're older and you're going to school, the dynamics are changed. They change completely. So, you got a lot more riding on it than when you're younger. And so, I put in the effort, finished Jeff State with the 4.0, finished all my core classes, and then when it came time to looking for a 4-year school to finish my degree, I was on UAB's website, and there it was, professional writing and public discourse. I was like, man, that sounds like something I might be able to do. So that's really what it came down to. I've never been like I love reading. You kind of have to if you're an English major, but it's just one of those things where it seemed like the most practical option for me. So I could still be doing the things I like to do, but I'd be able to apply them in a sense that I would, maybe be able to feed myself and my family, because I have a family, so gotta look out for that.
Actually, a girl told me towards the beginning of the semester that is an English major that she hated reading and literature, so
yeah.
I was like, I'm not sure. You might need to change majors.
Yeah, it depends. There were some lit classes I was just all about, and then some of them I was just like, man.
I was like, how are y'all English majors?
Yeah.
So that's kind of it.
I'd like to think of, we're a very special breed of people. But yeah, I don't know.
What advice would you give to a student who is thinking of going into professional writing?
If you like to write, do it. I mean, there's really nothing to lose because there's so many different ways that you can go in it. Like I said, I don't just, I may be an English major, but I don't just come to work and all I do is writing. I think that's just like a percentage of what I do. But, when I get those chances, those opportunities to be able to, like the logos, I designed the logos for the round table. I just did one this morning for another event that we're doing. Those opportunities, when I get to do that, it's just like I'm still able to use a lot of the things that I learned, because I will tell you what, had it not been for those classes, I would not have known what the first thing to do with an Adobe software product. And I'm in Illustrator or InDesign or Photoshop at some point of my day. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different ways to go about it. It's just, figuring out what that extra thing that you really love to do, and how can you kind of mesh the two together.
Okay, and what do you think is different about your job than you might have thought it would be when you first started out as a professional writer?
Different about my job than when I first started.
Mm-hmm. Or like when you were a student, what's different about what you're actually doing than what you thought you would have been doing?
I don't think I ever knew what I would be doing. So that's kind of so that's interesting all in itself. But you know, it really never occurred to me like, you know, what is my everyday gonna look like? But I can say from my first day here, what's different than what I expected it to be is very management's very little hands off. So, you know, it's just really learning how to do things on your own, and you got to be, you know, self-sufficient, and you got to be disciplined too. My first day, I came in here, and my boss put on his desk. All that was on his desk was a 2-inch purple binder that's sitting right there over on the shelf, and all that's filled with is grant applications. And he said, "Here you go." So I was like, "Oh, okay." So, you know, it's like one of those things like, all right, just kind of figuring things out on your own.
Mm-hmm.
But I think everybody needs to have a little bit of that.
Right.
Whatever they're doing, you got to be able to kind of manage yourself,
Mm-hmm.
because people don't have time to do it. You like don't have time to stand over you all day long,
Yeah.
tell you hold your hand and things like that. But so yeah.
What do you think is different from what other people may think professional writing is?
Yeah, see, I don't even know what other people would think we do. Like, you know that meme where it's like, this is what people think I do, this is what my mom thinks I do,
yeah.
this is what I actually do.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. I guess it depends, like what you're trying to do at the end of the day, because, I mean, everybody that goes in this field's kind of got their own idea for themselves. So yeah, I don't know. I would love to know what people think I do all day. That would be such a great conversation.
I think on the first day of class, we were asked, like, what is professional writing? And, like, it was just, like, silence.
Oh, yeah. I remember when we did my class started the memorandum. So it's the professional writing, whatever it was called, the magazine. And we're all sitting around like, dang, what is our cover story? What should we talk about? What do we want to say? And then my friend Dada, who's still friends with today, said, I'm going to write an article about what is professional writing. That's what's going to go on the cover, because nobody knows what the hell it is. So that's perfect.
Which I think is the point of this project.
Right.
So maybe we can finally get an idea.
Right. And I think he came to the same conclusion as I have. It's just like, you know, there's really one way to define it. Like I said, I got a friend who is in professional writing. He's a journalist now. Another friend is a tech writer. You know, there's grant writing. You know, you could go in and work for the foundations that actually write the applications. So it's, you know, what that extra thing is about you that's going to set you apart and help you find out what you really want to do with it when you get done.